grace right now. Amen. As we come into 2019, I share with everyone, 2019 should not be a year of excuses. No, it shouldn't. Because it has to be a time that you really take note of who you are. Yeah. Not just personally, but who you are in God. Yes. What does He really mean to you? It's time out for I know God, but I can't show Him. I don't want to see any more people pouring out brown liquor. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Amen. I don't want to hear any more speeches beginning with all honor goes to God. And the church ain't seen you in months. And there is no relationship with you. I don't want to hear any more excuses about somebody who made you mad. Because they should not be able to put a barrier between you and God. I come to church not to please the person on the pew, but to be in the presence of God. And so all the excuses that we use don't really matter because God does not want to hear them. Don't come in talking about somebody said something about you. There are more people talking about you outside the church. They're hypocrites. That's why they're in the church. We're all sinners. Saved by God. And so as we come into 2019, we have to be able to see what God wants us to do with our faith. We talk about being a 5-star church. But 5-star places don't give an excuse. That's right. They apologize and do whatever it takes to make your stay the best it can be. They will fix it. And so to be a 5-star church, you've got to be a 5-star person. And so God doesn't want any excuses. He just wants you to fix it. God did not bring you this far to leave any of you right where you are. And much is the same story that He told His disciples. He didn't care where they came from. He already knew where they were from. He knew their propensities and everything that they were going to do. So God is not looking for somebody who's perfect. But He is wanting people who want to be perfected in God. You know, I always ask people, are you a God chaser? And people ask, what does that mean? That means that along my journey I go through, I have ups and I have downs. But in my viewpoint, if you've ever gone on a hike, sometimes you're going down, other times you're going up. Yes, sir. Some inclines are a little bit harder than others. And sometimes you have to rest and take a break. But you still got to make it to the campsite. You cannot sit there and use the terrain as an excuse for not to a disciple who knew what it meant to not have all the answers. Because when it comes to sharing the gospel, we don't need to have all the answers. We just need to be willing to invite not yet believers to come and see. Can we do that? So let me get this going and get out your way. Because I know some of y'all want to see the game. Amen. 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 I want to see it too. I just told somebody in here, I'm going to see the Saints lose. Because I would never be able to step back in the door. If the snakes are playing, the snakes are playing for a Super Bowl in my state. None of us will be able to stay here. If they got to remind us every time that they won in our city. Amen. 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 This morning I want to talk about Philip. Come and see. Now we all know that sharing the gospel and telling others about Jesus is an essential part of being a disciple of Jesus. After his resurrection, Jesus commanded the 11 to go and to make disciples, baptize them and teach them to do everything that I have commanded you. Disciples weren't to keep the message to themselves, they had to pass it on. And just before his ascension, Jesus was even more specific in directing his disciples. He says to them, you will be my witness in Jerusalem and to the ends of the earth. The ends of the earth still need to hear the gospel. So this directive is just as much a part of our walk with Jesus today as it was back then. But knowing what we should do and actually doing can be two separate things. We know people who don't love Jesus are destined for an external separation from God. We also know that we have a message of hope and transformation. We know that Jesus promises to go with us as we speak his message. But the question that begs us this morning is, so why don't we just open our mouths so that what we are on about and spread the word? Well, stop and think about it for a moment. What is the number one reason that people say stops them from evangelizing and sharing their faith? One word. Fear. The answer that is often given at this point is fear. Specifically, the fear that someone will ask us a question that we don't have the answer to. Now, does that ring true for anybody in the house this morning? You want to share the gospel, but you're afraid of the difficult question. Such as, why does God let bad things happen? Do all religions lead to God? Is there a conflict between science and Christianity? Why can't God overlook our sins? How can Jesus be both man and God at the same time? Now, these are some of the hard questions, aren't they? But how can you be a good witness for Jesus if you're going to get stuck at some point? You want to share the gospel, but you don't want to look foolish, so you end up being quiet. That's how it works at times, doesn't it? Not for all of us, but not all the time. But the truth is, it happens. But today we're going to have to look close at Philip, the disciple, and see what we can learn about being a disciple of Jesus. What we're going to see is that you can be a disciple without having all the answers. Now, I know that's difficult for some of us, because some of us just want to know it all. Oh, don't come on now. That's not good. But when I look at John 6, 6, verses 1 through 7, I read these words. Sometime after this, Jesus crossed to the far shore of the Sea of Galilee, and a great crowd of people followed him because they saw the miraculous signs that he performed of the sick. Then Jesus went up on a mountainside and sat down with his disciples. The Jewish Passover feast was near. When Jesus looked up and saw a crowd coming toward him, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for these people to eat?" He asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. And Philip answered him, 8 months' wages would not buy enough bread for each one to have a bite. But when Jesus looked up, he saw a crowd toward him and said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for these people to eat?" See, for those that understand me and been in my Bible study, I always ask questions. I ask, why did Jesus ask Philip specifically? Only to test Philip, for Jesus already had in mind what he was going to do. But by this time, Jesus performed many miracles, and Philip had seen them. But in this specific situation, Philip couldn't see the answer coming from Jesus. Now, I know some of us don't understand that, but we watch God do things in our life. But there are things in our life also that stump us, and we don't know how Jesus is going to get us out of it. I know a lot of you don't want to even admit it, but there are times when we've seen God miraculously heal our mother or our father and allow diseases to abstain, and they're able to move on in life. But the moment we have something that hits us out of the blue, we begin to wonder, where is God? Philip was just at that place. He could not see God and what God was trying to do, because he didn't understand, how is it that I didn't have anything or nobody to reach to or give anybody and get able to get an answer to what Jesus asked me? So he was calculating the cost in his head. But every time he thought about it, he came up with nothing. Finally, he just opened up his mouth and said, 8 months of wages would not buy enough. Tell me, what have you often told Jesus it wasn't going to be enough? How many of you have already declared that I don't have enough prayers? How many of you often said that I don't have enough friends? How many of you declared that I'm not going to get another paycheck? How many of you declared that I don't have what it takes to get what God wants me to do? Now, I know y'all are quiet up here in the house, but oftentimes we are always dismissing what God has asked of us. Because when God asks of you, he already knows what he wants to do. So we find Philip in John 14. And he's trying to deal with another episode of trying to understand God. Christ had just said, do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, trust also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I'm going there to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, so you also meet me there where I am. And you know the way to the place where I'm going. But then Thomas, looking perplexed at him, said, Lord, we don't know where you're going. So how can we know the way? But Jesus looked at him again and he says, brother, I don't get it, because I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really knew me, you would know my Father as well. From that on, you do know him and have seen him. But Philip looked at him and said, Lord, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us. I tried to get the text, and it kind of stumped you, Pastor, because here's Christ telling me you're looking at the real thing. So I know when he got the question from Philip, it pained Jesus. Because we're only one day away from the crucifixion. Christ has been with these men for over 3 years, day in and day out. Living with them, teaching them, laughing and crying with them. Now I almost got perplexed, but then I realized, Melissa, that some of us have been walking with God far too long and we still don't know who he is. We've been coming to St. Paul for all of our lives. Our parents have been walking us in and outside of this church. We can sing the roof off of this place. We can pray from sun up to sundown. We can call out the scriptures and read back all of the funeral reading, but he still asks the question, Lord, can you show us the Father? I know it's the perplexing, because some of us get into our dead lives and still ask God, where are you? God says, how can you ask where I am? Because when your mama died, I was there to pick you up. How can you ask for me when the God was in an accident? You didn't die because I was sitting right next to you. When you didn't think you could get me out, it was me that opened the door. And you still asking me where am I? You don't recognize that the bank declined your loan for the house, but I opened up the loan and said, get in the house. We ask the same question. Show us, as though we've got to be in the show me state. That God's got to keep showing you over and over about how good he's been to you. See, I gotta have a few people in the house that don't mind telling he don't do another thing. disciple without child, the one Moses wrote about, and the son of Joseph. He was the son of Joseph. But not only that, Jesus is not the son of Joseph. No. Amen. Jesus is the Son of God. Amen. And his willingness to share Philip actually gets it wrong. But it's okay. See, we should all find this fact a little encouraging. It means that we can be good witnesses for Jesus without first getting every aspect of his knowledge perfect. Amen. So you don't have to feel ineffective just because you don't have all the answers. Amen. I can't do calculus. But that don't stop me from adding and subtracting. In the same way, we cannot allow the unanswered questions to keep us from talking about what we are sure of. See, I don't know everything that God has done for everybody. I can't tell you what he did with St. Mary 3,000 years ago. I can't tell you how he benefited John on the other side of Train Street a week ago. But what I can tell you what God has done for me. You got to learn that the greatest testimony you got is what God has already done for you. I don't know how else he's going to get it, and I don't know what he's going to do to get it done. But maybe I'm a recipient of what God can do. And I can't tell you how he did it. Don't ask me all the intricacies. I can't tell you where it started at midnight. I can't tell you where it started at 9 a.m. But I can tell you, baby, that when I got through this page, I looked back over my shoulder, and I can say, I got through this page. I don't know when it was happening, but I saw myself walking into the place. But when I got in the midst of the fire, I wasn't in there by myself. I looked around and there was another spirit dancing with me in the midst of my firestorm. And when I got out this page, I recognized that I felt good on the other side. See, do I have some people that feel on the other side of the road that's already me, that's getting bruised up on the other side? And you got to find your way. You know how you was going to make it through. But God was right there with you. So he asked this crazy question. Can anything good come out of Nazareth? See, you have to understand. I'm going to be out your way quickly. Nazareth was a no good, no known, no nothing town. And all the people were considered second class. No one important ever was born in Nazareth. And Nathaniel doesn't expect anything to be different with Jesus. Social biases are hard to break down. I know. We're living right now in the midst of social biases. But see, here's the answer. Philip knew that he could have given him an answer. He could have said, look, Nathan, you know that Jesus wasn't born in Nazareth. You know that. Remember, his parents moved there when he was a small boy. You heard the story of how he was born in Bethlehem. That's the seed of David that you know of. That's really what makes the difference. But the truth of the matter is that Philip didn't have all the kind of answers. He doesn't have the answers. Instead, he has one of those difficult questions. The one that stops us from sharing the gospel. But Philip don't allow that to stop him. Now, Philip doesn't have time to argue with nobody. He gives up the best argument he can think of. He just looks at him in the eye and says, come and see. See, when you're going through life and you're dealing with all that you're going through, I ain't got time to argue with you about whether or not you're going to be saved or whether or not God will make everything right. The only thing I can tell you is to come and see. When I was a little boy, I was trying to buy a car. My dad called me and said, son, I got a car here. And he started trying to describe the car to me. I still wasn't convinced. He said, come and see what it looked like. I was like, Dad, I don't want to get it. He says, no, come and see. So I went and I was convinced, and I love that car. See, every now and then you just got to tell somebody, just come and see. I don't know whether or not it's going to be the music, just come and see. I don't know whether it's going to be the usher that make you turn around, but just come and see. I don't know if it's going to be the preached word, but just come and see. Because Jesus ain't looking for nobody to be no illustrious to the people to just come and see. You got to come and see the love in action. Come and see God's faith in action. Come and see the hope and renewal of God in action. Come and see strangers become the next generation of disciples. Come and see God taking the least of these and turning to the most of these. We all have our own story. We all have our own Not for my glory.
Amen.
But for you.
Amen. Amen, Father.
Christina, it ain't got nothing to do with nobody else in the family. Or whether or not we're willing to let God do what God calls.
Amen. Amen. Father.
And when we do, we can be like Philip. And tell people I don't have all the answers. We just come and see. Pop, you've been doing it for a long time. You've been doing it for a long time. And I thank you. I thank you for being that witness for your family. But tell them to come and see. Brother Joshua, you've been there for a long time. You can't make anybody come. It's all you can share with them is to come and see. And that's all God has. To every young person in here, yeah, you believe that your mama or your dad makes you come to church. Really, they can't make you do anything. But all they're asking is you come and see. Because that's the toughest part. I don't have to have it all. Because the truth of the matter is I ain't all together. So don't ask me how I did it, because I don't know. But I can tell you who knows. His name is Jesus. You have an opportunity today to come and be a man that I know. All of you have a chance, an opportunity to be a disciple. And that is to invite somebody to come and see. But they don't want to come and see somebody that you ain't willing to come see yourself.
Amen.
People will follow you. So if you go to bed, they're going to follow you to the bed. If you stay at home, they're going to follow you at home. You're going to say, where you at? I'm at home. I'm at home too. I thought I had told you, why am I going to go to church and you ain't home? Well, he said, come and see. I want to invite somebody today to come and see. Everybody stand to your feet. There's some people in this house that need to make a perfect decision.